Today on 3D Outdoors, I'm going to teach you how to make crystal clear ice for all your beverage needs, right after this. All right, you want your beverage to look as good as possible. You're entertaining people that are coming over to your house and you want those mixed drinks to look great. How do you get crystal clear ice? And I actually got called out in a previous video. I was making a mixed drink and someone said, hey, you're using crappy city unfiltered water or something to that effect. And actually I was using filtered water and I was at the HQ, which isn't even in a city. But the point was taken that I need to use good ice or good looking ice. There's nothing wrong with the ice, but good appearance ice when I do those videos. So I started researching, how do I make perfectly clear ice? The easiest way to do it is to go and get yourself a super cheap cooler, take the lid off of it like I've done, obviously wash it all up so it's nice and clean, fill it 3/4 of the way up with water, put it in your freezer for 24 hours or so, and then get your crystal clear ice. And you're going to say, well, how does that work? Well, I will show you that. I'm going to fill this 3/4 of the way up, put it in the freezer, and we'll be back same time tomorrow, and I will show you the ice and I will explain to you how it happened. So, all right, it has been 24 hours, and by the magic of video editing, it's an instant for you. But we have the cooler here that's been sitting in the deep freeze for 24 hours. And I don't know if you can see on the camera there, but you can see an air bubble moving around underneath the sheet of ice. And you're going to say, well, how does this work? Well, let me go over there. I'm going to take the mic off for just a second. I'm going to go over to the sink and get this ice out, and I will show you how clear it is, and then I'll tell you why this works. All right, so you're wondering, how did I get this perfectly clear sheet of ice in a cheap cooler that you can get at any big box store? Well, it's directional freezing. What happens is the top is not insulated, so the ice forms at the top and starts working its way down. So that air is in the water that's down below. There was a little bit froze around the edges, but not much, so I broke that off. So what you're left with is a perfectly clear piece of ice. Now, how you divide this up into pieces, that's up to you. Be very, very careful. Obviously, you're working with something that's wet, something that's cold. I use like a bread knife, a serrated bread knife, and I just make a little saw mark in the ice itself, and then I tap it with a hammer. But now you can see that's a perfectly clear ice cube. Now, if you wanted one a little thicker than that, depending on your freezer, you can leave it in there longer so that it freezes further down in the cooler. This is about 24 hours in my deep freeze here, in an older one, so it probably didn't freeze it quite as far. But then you have a perfectly clear ice cube for your drink glass. Now, if you don't want to get a cooler and you don't have a freezer big enough for one, there is another option. I'll recommend that you watch part 2 of this. I'll try to put a link up in one of the corners here. There's a specialty item that I purchased that works awesome, but it's a limited quantity make. Like this piece here, you cut that up into many different pieces, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it in your freezer, and you'd have for several drinks. This next item, I'll tell you about how you can batch up like that as well. Costs a bit more money. I mean, this was like $8, I think, at the big box store, and I can make as much ice as I want in here. But if you want to see a different way, check out part 2. And there you go. There's how to make perfectly clear ice for your beverages. This is Dan with 3D Outdoors, reminding you to get into the outdoors and enjoy everything it has to offer. If you like this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, and you can always follow us over at 3d-outdoors.com, which is our website where we pull everything together. See you next time.